In the stock market, Jamaica and Trinidad fell in 2023, while Barbados went up, and Belize sees changes in their economic activities. Tech Bytes talks tech trends for 2024, and Andrew Pitts tells us about his journey with Headway Investment. I'm Abigail Castellanos, sitting in for Destiny Wagner on tonight's episode of Legacy Markets. Good night, and welcome to Legacy Markets. I'm Abigail Castellanos, and this evening, I'll be sitting in for Destiny Wagner, your host for a weekly show, the newest source for intelligent and unbiased coverage of money, business, and the economy, both at home and in the Caribbean region. Now joining us is analyst and co-host for the day, Rafia Flowers, for the weekly business headlines and the latest news on the Caribbean stock markets.
In summarizing the stocks for 2023, the Jamaican Stock Exchange experienced a slight dip of 92 basis points for the year. On that same declining note, the Trinidad Stock Index took a nosedive, marking the largest decrease of 10%. If you made some investments in the Barbados Stock Exchange, however, good news will come your way, as the BSE had an overall increase of 9%. Now, shifting focus to our neck of the woods, the year ended with some positive economic developments. The Statistical Institute of Belize's latest Consumer Price Index survey revealed a national inflation rate of 4.3% for October 2023. This was a notable drop from the previous year's rate of 6.7%. As for the country's economic activity, the gross domestic product for quarter 3 of 2023 saw a positive growth at $1.2 billion. This was higher than the $1.16 billion GDP recorded in the same period last year. The national unemployment rate declined by 1 percentage point when compared to October 2022 to stand at 4%. Global sugar prices increased by 3.7% from the previous week to stand at 43 cents per pound. And that's it for the business headlines. Abby, back to you.
Thanks, Rafia. Now for a brief commercial break, but when we return, we'll be joined by our guest, economist Dr. Philip Castillo.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen, the hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Thanks for joining us on Legacy Markets. This show is centered on finance and the economy, and tonight we want to explore what the economy will look like in 2024. We are joined by Dr. Philip Castillo, economist and lecturer at the University of Belize. Welcome, Dr. Castillo. Thanks for joining us once again on Legacy Markets.
Well, thank you too. I'm glad for being here.
The last time you were here, we were having a discussion on the sugar shortage, and I know we're still seeing the effects of this sugar shortage, but Today, what I want us to look at is three specific topics. That would be three major factors affecting our economy: the labor force, inflation, and GDP. From September 2018 to September 2023, Belize experienced labor force and unemployment rate fluctuations. In 2020, there was a spike to 13%, but that was due to the global impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, going into September 2021, the rate dropped to 9% and significantly further to 4% in September 2023. This signals a resilient recovery for the country. As for the gender composition in the labor force, it remains stable, with males at 60%, and females at 40%, suggesting a consistent participation despite the economic variations. So, Dr. Castillo, what factors have contributed to how the unemployment rate has declined in Belize over the past years?
I would say two things. One, we have changed the definition of unemployment. Obviously, to be unemployed means that you do not have a job. But having a job and employed, what that means in the context of Belize, and Belize uses data and definitions as provided by the International Labour Organization, ILO. And we define work as anything you do for pay, profit, or family gain for 1 hour in a 1 week period. So if you do anything for pay, profit, or family gain for 1 hour in a 1 week period, you are officially considered to be employed. When you're employed, there's a breakdown between being what we say underemployment, when you work for less than 35 hours, and then employment beyond the 35 hours. So that has happened, and then we have changed the definition of unemployment. You have to be, one, not having work, and then I've just defined work, and two, looking for a job, and there's a definition of actually looking for a job, and three, being available for work. Not everyone who is unemployed is available for work. So those three criteria must be present for you to be regarded as unemployed. And because the definition has been expanded, that in a sense has contributed to Belize's declining unemployment rate. But again, the actual numbers have increased because the employment in the BPOs have significantly gone up. So then, two things have happened. Actual employment has increased, and the definition of unemployment has decreased. And combined, those account for Belize's relatively low unemployment rate.
Okay. So, could you go into further details as to how the change in the definition has led to us having this stronger labor market as we see through the data?
Well, the changing of the definition, meaning that focus on availability for work. There are persons who may want to work for whatever reason, but they may not be available for work. You started this segment by focusing on the gender composition of Belize's labor force. It is a fact that some men may not want their wives to work or the women in their lives to work. And from that perspective, those women are not available for work. Belize is still, to a certain extent, has aspects of being a patriarchal society, and that reflects in the gender composition of the labor force. To the extent that that exists, then that shows that more males than females are available for work.
What are the sectors or the industries that are currently experiencing notable changes in employment? And how does this influence the overall economy? I noticed you mentioned the BPOs, but also could you discuss the relationship between technological advancements and employment trends in our country, particularly potential job displacement or creation?
Well, to your first question first, you mentioned focusing on the sectors. I would think that the two most important sectors where employment is concerned is, apart from the BPOs, would be the tourism sector, which is rebounding and reviving. So that is showing strong growth. And then the agricultural sector. We know of the challenges, notably in the sugar industry, but the agricultural sector, the other agricultural sector has been showing strong growth. The relationship to technology is that looking at, say, for example, BPOs, we see strong possibilities, strong linkages of linking BPOs to technology, because the BPO sector isn't only somebody in front of a computer all day talking. That computer needs to be repaired. There's a web system behind that computer. There's an IT network. There's an IT system behind that computer. And that's where IT and technology comes in. And then if you go further, that's where our schools need to reorient themselves to train persons to be employable in that sector. So you want to strongly support something like STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math program, because that program is what's going to train our future technicians to be employed in this broad new sector, and this sector that's here to stay.
That's a good point that you made, Dr. Castillo. We're definitely seeing a lot of people moving towards the tech field, the employments involving technology. But what happens to those that are not in areas that are primarily technologically advanced? What happens to them? Are they just going to eventually wither away and it's no longer going to be a job anymore? Or what do we see for sectors like that?
Well, what we see is what is in vogue nowadays is using different colors to describe, to categorize different aspects of the economy. So speaking of the orange economy then, to use one of the colors, we're looking at cultural aspects of the economy and how to tie culture to development. Belize has, as we know, we're a multicultural blend, basically, living in harmony. And each of our cultures has something to contribute to development. Now, focusing on ways how culture could enhance the development process. So, for example, then, we've just look at the 19th of November that has just finished a couple months ago. The process of the cultural attire, these attire need to be made. The process of making a drum, that's a specialized skill. These skills aren't taught in schools per se, but these skills can generate substantial revenues for persons who engage in them. So you're looking at making drum making, you're looking at basket weaving, you're looking at sewing cultural attire. Now focusing on the other cultures, I'm certain that there are ways how persons who may not be academically inclined, who may not be STEAM-oriented, can engage in work, and not only work, but in profitable work. For the Maya Mestizo culture, the rise of, there's a game, Pocatok, I think, if that's what the game is called.
Yes, Pocatok.
Yes, the attire needs to be made, the ball needs to be made, the persons who officiate the game needs to be made. I know that Belize's team has gone abroad. There's a whole process when you take a team abroad. You need sports medicine, you need sports doctors, you need nutritionists. The point I wish to make is that beyond STEAM, there are multiple other employment opportunities for persons in Belize, and you want to continue that trend. You want, at the end of the day, you want a resilient economy, a resilient labor force. And you do that when there are multiple employment options and possibilities for training and upskilling for persons who are in the various occupations.
That's a good point that you made, Dr. Castillo. And I think, too, what would really help with these specialized skills is for them to also try to incorporate all these new technological advancements to promoting or showcasing their skills even more.
Certainly so, certainly so. Again, speaking, some of these skills are learnt maybe by tradition, by passing on. Speaking of the game, the Pakatok, I really am not certain how the ball is made, but this is a skill that would be learned and passed through the various generations. The sewing, the uniforms that I see them wearing, the officiating, these are skills that are passed through the various generations. Technology might not be involved, but the job itself is such that it can earn the person who's involved in it a reasonable income.
Okay. We need to take a short break, but we will continue our conversation when we return, so please stay tuned.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securitiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Welcome back. We're joined by Dr. Philip Castillo, economist and professor. We're having a conversation on 2023's economic indicators. We want to discuss inflation, a key metric for measuring a country's cost of living. Prior to COVID-19 pandemic, the average inflation rate was 50 basis points. But in 2021, it surged to an all-time high of about 6%, and although it has started to decline to 4% in 2023, it still remains significantly higher than the pre-COVID average of 50 basis points. Dr. Castillo, the year prior to COVID, the inflation had an average rate of about 50 basis points, but in 2021, the inflation started to rise. It rose to 6.3%, which was really high in 2022. But can you give us your insight into the factors that had contributed to our inflation to reach that high figure of 6%?
The economy came to a standstill, basically. The short answer is that the economy came to a standstill. Bear in mind that Belize is substantially dependent on outside forces, that we import something like 80 to 90% of the things that you see on the shelf is imported. So to the extent that we can't import anything, we imported substantially less. then the cost of things in the country would go up. And then even our productive sectors depend on imports to fuel those sectors. Focusing on fuel, Belize is a fuel-dependent economy. And when the prices of these things go up, that substantially affects Belize's economy. And then bear in mind that not only COVID affected us, but logistics, there was supply side constraints around that time. And all these factors, they coalesced basically, and they affected a small import-dependent economy such as Belize to the extent that prices went up. And that is what you saw happening.
From the latest release from SIB in October 2023, the national inflation rate for Belize stood at 4.3%. This is still high compared to our years prior to COVID. So what would you say has contributed to the inflation still remaining pretty high, but also having that it had declined from that 6.3%?
Again, you need to focus on fuel. At its height, fuel was averaging around $16 per gallon. The average now, or in the recent past, is around $13 per gallon. Now, subjectively, you might think that that is still too high, and maybe it is from a subjective perspective. But when you're measuring inflation, that's actually a decline. From 16 to 13 is a decline. And that decline reflected itself in a reduction in the national rate of inflation, because that $3 per gallon decline, that percolated basically throughout the entire economy, because Belize imports just about every drop of fuel that it uses. And so a decline of $3 per gallon is bound to manifest itself in lower inflation numbers.
Okay. So we've noticed a trend where there's a lot of external factors affecting our country's inflation. So looking ahead, what is your forecast for the trajectory of Belize's inflation? Are there specific challenges that you foresee or specific opportunities that you see will influence our inflation for this year?
The challenges remain the global macroeconomic forces that are outside Belize's control. Last year and the year before, we knew of the Russia-Ukraine war, and that affected prices in Belize. But what you see happening from October 2023 was the war in the Middle East. Now, that war has the potential of spilling out into a wider regional conflict. And the most recent developments, if you call it that you see happening in that war is that you see international shipping being attacked in the Red Sea. And the effect of that is that ships that would normally use the Suez Canal, some of these ships are going all around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa. Those things increase prices, and those increased prices manifest themselves in import developing countries such as Belize. Speaking specifically of the US, that's our largest trading partner, and that's where the majority of our tourists come from. We see a new strain of the Omicron virus, of the COVID virus, making itself being manifest. To the extent that that virus isn't substantially controlled in the United States. It certainly will spread to Belize because visitors will bring it. Belizeans who travel to the US, there's substantial people traffic between Belize and the United States. And if that affects us, again, you could see the challenges. So I see the rise of the Omicron virus. I see the possibilities of the spread of the Middle East conflict. I see those as negative factors that could potentially impact Belize in ways that will affect our cost of living and our GDP. On the positive side, I see government making a sustained effort to limit what it regards as price gouging in Belize. We see business persons being ticketed, and what that does is that that seeks to limit the extent of price gouging, as they call it in Belize, and that might exert a dampening effect on inflation.
So this has been a good conversation, Dr. Castillo. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but there is one question that I want to know from you when it comes to our gross domestic product. What is your outlook for our GDP for this year, 2024? Again,
I want to be optimistic, but I must be realistic, because what happens with the Omicron virus in the United States, what happens with the price of fuel based on the Middle East war will affect Belize's GDP. Focusing on our primary sector, sugar, we know of the problems in the sugar industry. There's currently a truce. We know that they are now milling and there's this agreement. But again, what happens in the next 3 months when Mr. Hugh O'Brien presents his economic analysis, we're not sure. All these will have an impact on Belize's GDP. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can have you back to discuss more pertinent issues affecting our economy. I love this conversation, and I'm sure the viewers have loved it too. Thank you so much, and when we return, Ms. Janine Hamilton will join us with another segment of Tech Bytes.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
Welcome back. We're joined again this week by Janine Hamilton, the Chief Technology Officer at Legacy Fund Limited. Today we're talking tech trends for 2024. Welcome, Janine.
Hi, Rafia. Thanks for having me.
And as usual, it's a pleasure having you with us today. So looking at all the buzz with the latest inventions in tech, what are some of the trends that we will be seeing in 2024?
Good question. Definitely we'll be seeing more AI penetration in products and services. As well, I believe we'll be seeing more enhancements in augmented and virtual reality as well. And of course, I think some of the big things that will be happening will be in wearable devices, wearable technologies, such as the introduction of the new AI pin that I've been seeing.
Yeah, so AI keeps us buzzing for 2024, it seems. But closer to home, what do you think the Caribbean tech space will look like this year?
Well, Rafia, 2023 has definitely been an interesting year in tech here in the Caribbean. As you mentioned AI, I definitely believe that AI will be used a lot more. That's just global. As well, we'll be looking at stronger cybersecurity and data protection, and also ESG adoption. But I also see where our focus needs to be on resilience. Systems can fail, as you know, by natural or human efforts. So there will be, or there should be, a lot more focus placed on becoming stronger and better prepared for these. This means that we will have to spend more on protecting against cyber attacks, as well as keeping our data safe and making hardware more dependable. And all of this is just being ready and prepared for whatever we might be faced with. I think that the main aim should be to become, or to be able to bounce back fast and well after any kind of problem.
So Jen, you mentioned a little earlier in our conversation about an AI pin. Can you kindly tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, so Rafi, this is basically like a personal assistant smartphone without a screen. Basically, it's a device that you pin on your clothing, and that is so that your hands can be free to do whatever else you need to do. And what you do is you speak to it directly with your commands and your questions. AI is integrated in it, so that is why I said it's like a personal assistant as well. So let's say, for example, you are driving and you see something, you can tell it to take a picture or a video without having to take out a phone. You can also tell it to make a call or to write a text and send to someone. So it has no screen like a smartphone, but you can project an image onto your hand, for example, and you can also control it by using just finger gestures as well. However, I must say that I don't think that it takes the place of a smartphone as yet, but I know other companies are working on similar devices. And so this is why I'm saying this will be a part of the trend as well. We'll be seeing more devices like these coming on the market. So I can see where in the next few years this could actually be the new smartphone, if we can call it that, simply because it will be improved upon with the different features that it will have.
Okay, thanks, Jen. That's quite an interesting look into the future. But so in terms of embracing the latest tech trends, what are some of the benefits and drawbacks for a product, particularly like this?
That's a good question. So I think a benefit or a pro in this would be just being able to partake in innovation and efficiency. I mean, technology is made to streamline your processes, so it will definitely increase your productivity. As well, you'll be upskilling yourself. You'll be learning new skills to be able to use the latest technologies available on the market. So I think in general, those are two pros to adopting to new technology. On the drawbacks or on the con side, I can see cost being a factor. In this particular product, this is selling for $699 US. For some, they're finding it kind of expensive, especially for a new type of product that has not been proven as yet. As well, you have to understand that you're a first tester, meaning the product has not been really validated as yet. So you'll be running into glitches. At this time, it's still a little bit large. I'm sure in the next couple of years, it's going to be really a really small device, maybe something that you might not even be able to notice that someone is wearing. And then of course, it won't be really feature rich, meaning a smartphone has so many things that you can do on it. You can pay your bills, you can shop, you can just do so much, play games and video call with other people. So this is not able to do that as yet. However, those are things that I'm sure they will be implementing in other versions as those technologies already exist. But I think the biggest tool cons that I can see with any new technology would be if it is compatible, meaning you may have integration issues, compatibility issues, meaning can it work seamlessly with other technologies that are available to me. As well, product support. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, what are the difficulties in this being done? As well as can I use the product to the fullest capability without or with our technological landscape? So I think those are the biggest ones. I know here in Belize, for example, people having Apple devices. I always wonder, if it breaks, if it needs to be repaired or serviced, how difficult is it for that to be done? We need to send it abroad for that to be done. I don't know if there's a dealer here in Belize. I think for Samsung, but I don't know for Apple. So I think those are the things that people would have to consider in general when adapting to new technologies.
Yeah, always a lot to consider in the tech world. But thank you so much, Janine, for this very insightful conversation. I know, there's a lot to consider when using even my own devices. But we look forward to chatting with you again next week for another one of your topics. When we come back, we will still have the Innovators segment welcoming entrepreneur Andre Pitts. Don't go away.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen. The hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, Investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securitiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Business Show. This week, we will not be featuring a sports segment, but our Business of Sports will return next week. However, this segment will showcase a Belizean entrepreneur making significant waves in the Belizean economy each week. These are forward-thinking individuals who are pushing boundaries and breaking barriers. This week, we are joined by Andre Pitts, owner and founder of Headway Investment, the company designed to consolidate numerous businesses and brands he owns and manages. According to his LinkedIn description, Headway Investment ventures to multiply a track record of innovation, persistence, and success in business, and ultimately seeks to create quality employment to grow beyond your current footprint of 12 employees. His brands include Brain Freeze Margaritas Bar, Brain Freeze Mobile, Headway Realty, Headway Marketing Solutions, and Amaya Procurements. Welcome, Mr. Pitts. So, originally, we wanted to talk to you about your very successful business, Brain Freeze Margaritas, because they have been a hit in the adult beverage department. But there's so much more to your work than just the drink. You're the founder of Headway Investments, and what the viewers would like to know is, how did you get started with this?
Hi, and thanks for having me, and happy to be a part of this show. Headway Investments, like you were discussing from the LinkedIn profile, it's all about, for me, being organized with the different, I consider myself to be a serial entrepreneur, and it can become a bit tedious to kind of jump back and forth. So the idea of Headway Investments is to kind of consolidate everything. It makes it easier to handle the finances, the administrative work, even the way I'm able to do the marketing and so on. So the idea of the number one priority about it is to consolidate the different brands, and that is the main reason behind Headway Investment being formed as the ownership group, so to speak.
So you have several of these other businesses under that one umbrella like you described earlier. So what is the technicalities when it comes to this, setting up that Headway Investments and having all these different businesses branch under it?
Well, when it comes to the other businesses, those are registered as sole proprietorships. So that comes with its own legal profile. When you're dealing with the banks, for example, those businesses would be registered as Andre Pitts, trading as Brain Freeze or whatever. When it comes to having a company, it's different. That is, a company is its own person, its own legal entity. It will simply be Headway Investments. And so a company can own these different businesses, all of them. And so from a banking perspective, even that is an incredible advantage to do it that way instead of needing to log into 6 different accounts to process and approve payments and so on. It's, like I said, it's really about efficiency and the logistics of making it more easier and timely.
Thanks for sharing that information with us. I'm sure the viewers now see that, okay, this is a better way to kind of take away all that tedious aspect of having several different businesses like you described. But what I want to do is shift to your business, right? What we think is very innovative is that you're toggling between several different businesses, but how is it that you're able to, or how did these two merge? How did you think of the idea to just come and merge all these businesses that you have under one?
Well, as an entrepreneur, I would say that I'm not passionate about alcohol. I'm not passionate about food or passionate about real estate. I am passionate about marketing, and I really, really enjoy organizing data, organizing numbers, coming up with my Excel database and putting in the formulas. And those are the skills and things that I enjoy that allow me to kind of manage the business as well. And those are the things that I find enjoying. So even though I'm involved in different sectors or industries, what is required for all of them is the same core, I would say, infrastructure: the business management, the marketing, the business planning, trying to deal with the headache of human resources. And so even though it seems like a lot of things, for me internally, I kind of break it down to those core business functions. And so it feels, I would say, a little bit easier for me when I approach it that way, and enjoyable.
So definitely those business functions you mentioned, the marketing.
The core functions, yes.
Yeah, those are definitely what helps you to manage those different sectors. Because I'm sure being in the food industry and the financial industry is so different. The dynamic is so different, and I guess
the
maybe
day-to-day dynamics are completely different. Completely different. Some of them, it's stress from start to finish. Some of them are slower, some are more fast-paced. But my goal after starting a business, I try to, as quick as possible, kind of remove myself from the day-to-day operations. So even when you look at it that way, I would say I relegate myself to those core functions, and I try not to be too heavily involved with the day-to-day operations.
Well, that's definitely some good insights, especially for any entrepreneurs out there thinking, okay, because when you're an entrepreneur, you know, it's from the start to the end of the day, and it never finishes.
It's easy to get drowned.
Yeah.
And one of my friends who is a businessman, he does construction. Something that he told me that stuck out to me, he said that he purchased his first dump truck, and he was still riding bicycle. He purchased a second one. He never did go into the dump trucks because he said he felt that if he started to do that, the business would become too dependent on him to always be the one driving or be the one dealing with the workers on the job sites and stuff. So if you're an entrepreneur who wants to do multiple things, it's important not to get too bogged down because that's when you're really overwhelmed and it's hard to pivot or transition from one avenue to the other.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So let's talk about your margaritas. Could you tell us about the different flavors that you offer?
Well, brain-freeze margaritas, my COVID-19 baby. That started off with just the basics, the classic and the blue, which is pretty much a colored version of the classic. But we've expanded now. We have more exotic fruit flavors. We have passion fruit, peach, strawberry, I'm playing with a tamarind and coconut. We also have mango, spicy mango, and jalapeno. So I think we're up to 9 flavors, and we're trying to expand up to 15.
I've tried most of those flavors, so I'm looking forward to that tamarind that you mentioned.
Yes.
You have a very interesting story when it came to opening your new restaurant, the Old River Bar and Grill. I got it correct, right?
Yes, Old River Bar and Grill.
How did that all start? What made you think about starting that or branching to that?
Old River Bar and Grill is really a response to a weakness that I had with Brain Freeze Margarita. From the start, I knew that one of the biggest weaknesses of Brain Freeze Margaritas as a business was that it relied on external events, on concerts, on parties, fairs. And in that industry, there's a lot of gatekeepers. There are a lot of people who I also understand they won't just invite competition to come and impact their own revenues. And along the way, I received a lot of no's. No, sorry, we like you, we cool with you, Dre, but you can't come to this concert because, you know, you can't go to this festival, you can't clash with this sponsor. And that was very deflating and frustrating. And so I tried to identify a way that I could create my own space so that I always have that option that I can do this every day or every weekend. And my initial idea was to be able to get a booth at either BTL Park or Memorial Park, but none was available at either location. I continued to engage the City Council, who that's the entity responsible for those public spaces. And they told me to come to City Hall and check out the ground floor where a restaurant previously was. I went there, I loved the space, I loved the ambience, and I saw the potential that was there, and that is how it started. And since then, since we've started, it has ballooned beyond just a place to sell brain freeze margaritas. That's almost an afterthought now, but I'm happy that it unfolded that way.
So definitely you've identified a challenge that most MSMEs are probably experiencing, or in fact definitely experiencing. So what are some other challenges that you could elaborate that these small, medium enterprise businesses are facing?
Well, one of the major, there are several things. One of the major ones that I think is not spoken of enough. After you've started and you're expanding from small, moving up towards medium, you have to staff your business. You have to expand beyond just yourself, no matter what industry you're in, whether you're going from just you to 2 more people or just you to 20 people. Human resources is an incredible dilemma, a challenge, a nightmare. When you're looking for skilled workers, there's a lot of competition. So, for example, at a restaurant, a cook, they can leave a job every other week because there's such a high demand for them. So, it's a 24/7 task to kind of be your own human resource manager. You can't take it for granted. You can't drop the ball because you have to ensure that your staff want to be there. You have to ensure that you're getting optimal output from them. You want to know that they're comfortable. And so that's a work in progress always.
So it's definitely been very interesting and it's very nice to see how great your business is doing, how you've managed to expand it and so on. But where do you see the business 5 years from now?
Well, I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if some of the individual businesses disappear or if they are sold. Like I said, I'm really and truly, what I love are the core business functions, the marketing, the starting up. And so I want to do that in many more sectors. I want to continuously pivot and transition between and across. I want to work on being more vertically integrated in terms of having other businesses that can provide essential services to me, like I do marketing for myself, business admin, and so on. I want to do even more of those services for myself, and of course, to create even more employment. So those are the core things that I enjoy and that I envision expanding in the future. I'm not sure how it will look on the surface, but my focus is on those core things.
Is there any business that you might be working on currently, like to introduce and so on, or?
Yes, not exactly actively. Right now, my focus is ensuring that the latest one, which is only 2 months old, that finds solid footing. So far, I'm already pleased, but I want it to have extremely solid footing before I venture off again.
Well, Mr. Pitts, I'd just like to say congratulations on all your successful products. We're very pleased to see that you were able to take some time from your busy schedule to come and talk to us on Legacy Markets to give us a very informative chat. We want to wish you the best of luck with all your businesses.
Thank you.
Is there any final words that you have to say for our audiences?
Well, really, I first of all want to really thank you guys for the invitation. I'm somebody, I really love entrepreneurship, or not even just entrepreneurship, the world of business on a whole. So I enjoy engaging in initiatives like this one. Congratulations to you guys on a very successful show. And to the viewers, I'd just like to encourage those with an idea, with a talent, with a skill, with a burning passion. Don't let it go to waste. There are ways to monetize any and everything. It's something that can be extremely empowering for you, for your family, and it's worth the shot. It's worth a shot. So try, go for it.
Definitely. Thank you once again. And that's it for today's show. Remember to join us weekly on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for another episode of Legacy Markets. Destiny Wagner will be joining us again next week. For now, we want to say good night and remember, together we create a legacy of a better world. Bye.